Hey people of the VC, it's Andy Cloudy Mulder. This is my August 2020 vinyl collection update, just to run through of things that I've paid a lot of attention to this month, and they're going to go up on the shelf somewhere if I can find room. First ones I'm going to show, this is completely not me and unusual. It's certainly not metal, and to be honest with you, I don't know what genre or category this band fits into. It's a band that I was first aware of in around 1987. A friend had it on cassette, and I created a copy. It was an LP and an EP they had out at the time. And I haven't thought about this band for years, decades, in fact. And it was only a recent conversation with somebody that the band name just popped into my head, and I popped on Discogs as you do, just to see, just to get back to thinking about what those albums were and what were the names of the songs on them. And I found a seller that was basically selling their whole catalogue, which is only a couple of albums and a couple of 12-inch single EPs. So I grabbed them. I had to grab them, and that band in question is a band called Bogshed. Now, Bogshed Brutal, which is their second album, and the Let Them Eat Bogshed EP. These are the two that I had on a single side, I think, of a C90 cassette back in the 80s. Really hard to describe this music. Others may do a better job than me, because I have never heard a band like this before, since, or what have you. It's not punk, it's not really post-punk, it's not really indie rock. I've seen them described as lo-fi, but from what I can gather, lo-fi didn't really come into play until the 90s, but it's kind of haphazard music. It's a very bassy, and drums, not drum and bass though, bassy and drums, and the singing is almost exasperated, not necessarily tuneful. I'm really selling this, aren't I? But I was instantly hooked again when I heard these. I mean, straight away, even just reading the songs, I can hear them in my head. So this Bogshed Brutal, which was their second album, has songs: Raise the Girl, Jeff's Big Problem, Old Dog New Dance, No to Lemon Mash, I'm the Instrument, Opportunist Knocks, People Equal Greedy, Sing a Little Tune, Come on Everybody, Uncle Death Grip, Spring and Loaf. That was just instant memories coming back. So that was 87. This was their final album. They broke up after this. They were promoted quite a bit by John Peel in the UK, and I think this one has some Peel sessions on it. So this is the Let Them Eat Bogshed. Panties Please, Spencer Travis. Now, Fat Lad Exam Failure is the name of the song. That, as I say, completely tangent conversation, and the song Fat Lad Exam Failure just popped back into my head. So that's what the song that made me re-find these guys again. And then on side B, we've got Slave Girls, City Girls, and Hand Me Down Father. And those two, just brilliant memories, going back and discovering those again. The other two that I picked up with it, I wasn't so familiar with, and I have played them, and they just didn't have that same. I didn't have that same connection with them, because I was hearing the songs for the first time. But that's Tried and Tested Public Speaker by Bogshed. This is 86, and this is the one actually with Peel sessions on. All the artwork on the albums is done by the bass player. And this was their first album, Step On It, Bogshed. I need to give this one another spin, because as I said, I don't have the connection with this as I do with Brutal and the Let Them Eat Bogshed EP. But I'm really, really chuffed to get those. So memories came flooding back, teenage memories. I have very few possessions from back then to sort of look back on, and having these, just the memories, just amazing. Loved it. But you're here for the metal, aren't you? So let's get back to the metal. And you don't get more metal than Judas Priest Live, Battle Cry. This is the 2016 release. It was a live album, double live album, recorded at the Wacken Festival in 2015, I think it was, on the Redeemer of Souls tour. Limited edition to 7,500. I don't think that's limited edition these days, is it? I mean, that's like 10 times more than a lot of limited edition runs get, but it was starting to creep up in value, and I saw it for a great price and had to grab it. There are 15 tracks on here. You might be able to read that set list. It covers a good period of Judas Priest. In fact, the first album is mostly sort of Redeemer of Souls and a few other modern albums, and the side C and side D is all the classic kind of 80s, 70s, 80s stuff, and a good mixture of tracks across all the albums. I think, I know, I've got it written down. Who am I kidding? We've got Redeemer of Souls, Screaming for Vengeance, British Steel, Sad Winds of Destiny, Stained Class, Defenders of the Faith, Killer Machine and Painkiller, all represented on this album. Although I have to say, Painkiller is bloody awful. Rob, he still has a great voice to some degree, but contrary to popular opinion, I think Painkiller, he has always struggled with the vocals on that. It's a screamer, and he can't. It sounds like he's gargling on this, to be honest with you. The rest of the songs, he sounds really, really good. And who am I to criticise the great Rob Halford? But I do think Painkiller is a little bit much for him these days. Great musically, but yeah, I don't know. I just think Painkiller is it's a lot of people's favourite album, but it's not mine. I just find, yeah, I think he struggles with the vocals. They were trying to be a bit more heavy, not thrash, but anyway, we're not talking about Painkiller. We're talking about Battle Cry, 2016. It's a Columbia European pressing. That one, yeah, 1,386. Hand numbered as well, so somebody must have had a bloody sore wrist by the end of that session, all I can say. Next up, now this is a little bit poignant, really, isn't it? Wasted, Save Your Prayers. I got this as some VCLT from Brendan back in February, and I've only really this month had a chance to get into it, and I pulled this out a few days before it was announced that he'd passed away, and I'm not really one for listening or going out of my way to listen to music for people who've just died. I don't kind of. It's sad when they die, and you know, obviously Pete Way was a massive person in the whole of the rock and metal history with his background in UFO. But yeah, I don't necessarily feel the urge to go out and listen to people's music just because they died. I mean, I'll listen to people's music when I'm in the mood to listen to it. I like Wasted though. I've always liked Wasted. He's joined on this album also by Paul Chapman from UFO. It's melodic heavy metal. It's not the best Wasted album by any means, but it was the one Wasted album I needed on vinyl to complete my collection, and Brendan did me proud sending this all the way from Australia. It's just taken me a while to get in the mood for Wasted. I've got to, you know, whether it's a thrash metal mood, a heavy metal mood, a melodic heavy metal mood, I've got to be in the mood to listen to the music. So I'm quite happy for things to sit in my inbox until I am ready, and then I tend to enjoy them a lot more. Songs to check out on here: Walls Fall Down and Hell Comes Home. They're, you know, good stuff. Next up, now this band is one of the better, lesser known bands, I guess, of the new wave of British heavy metal movement. They're from Tyneside in the north of England, which was a bit of a hotbed for rock and metal in the late 70s and early 80s. Now, Death and Destiny was originally released in 1979. This is the where have we gone? The High Roller Records 40th anniversary reissue. So it was originally released in 1979 as a 4-track EP, I think. 4 tracks are on here. It had another reissue on CD only, and they added 9 extra sort of demo tracks and early studio tracks or whatever on there. But High Roller Records have certainly worked their magic, as they always do. I've never seen a bad High Roller Records release, just on black vinyl. Nothing fancy on the labels, but what have we got inside? Always get some goodies with High Roller. We have a not just a hard stock inner, but it's a gatefold with the lyrics. So they've got together some memorabilia, photos, flyers, shows they did with Motorhead and Saxon and Ted Nugent, and a couple of articles from looks like Sounds magazine. But yeah, good stuff. I saw Mithra a few years ago now, actually, and I'd never heard of them before, to be honest with you. And Night Demon they were a big influence on Night Demon, and Night Demon had asked them to go out on tour with them, so I saw them support Night Demon on Night Demon's first ever UK show. There was me and about 15 others, which was a real shame. But nice poster that I'll never put up. But yeah, as for the sound, say early new wave of British heavy metal has a diamond head sound to it. In fact, Lars Ulrich put together a new wave of British heavy metal compilation a few years back now, and he wanted to put a track from Death and Destiny, I think it might even be the track Death and Destiny, on that album, but for some reason the record company or the person they spoke to, who they thought owned the rights, said no, didn't want anything to do with them, and apparently the band were just mystified that they would do that. So another band that effectively influenced thrash metal, even though they're not a thrash band, but they influenced a young Lars Ulrich along with the likes of Diamond Head, and they certainly have a bit of a Diamond Head vibe to them in their sound. Tracks to check out, I would say Death and Destiny, definitely. Vicious Bastards is quite good. I talked about that one in my Bastards video recently. Overlord, Warrior of Time, UFO. This is a fantastic album, well worth checking out if you like that new wave of British heavy metal sound. Okay, a little bit of story time. So I like to I enjoy a drink. I'm not ashamed of that. But sometimes if I've had a drink and I'm at home and I'm watching VC videos or browsing the internet, it can make my wallet a little looser, and I'm more inclined to perhaps buy something on a whim. Now, this next album I have been looking out for a very long time. I have it's not necessarily a really rare album. It is creeping up in price, and I'm a bit of a tight git, and I'm not prepared to pay the prices it generally goes for. So I bid on it. I bid on it fairly often, or have bid on it fairly often on eBay, and not got anywhere. And it's gone for prices that I'm going to say 20 quid and above, which is a lot for some people. But at the end of the day, it's not a major grail, but it's an album I really, really wanted and really, really enjoy. But on the night of Saturday, July the 11th, after a few drinks, I suddenly thought, right, that's it. The reissue on Amazon had gone down to $14.99, and that's my trigger price for anything on my wish list. Any brand new vinyl on my wish list, if it goes into 50 quid, I generally jump on it because it's because I'm a tight git, and I'm not going to pay more than that, because I can get more vinyl for less money. That album I'm talking about is Flotsam and Jetson, Doomsday for the Deceiver. I have wanted an OG of this for a long time, and I ended up buying the Metal Blade 30th anniversary, or 30th anniversary of Metal Blade, I think it is, rather than 30th anniversary of this album. I say it was $14.99. I justified it to myself because it's a double album. But even then, my irrational issue with vinyl reissues, you regular guys know that I strive to part of my collection, and when it comes to vinyl collection, rather than just the music, I'm not vinyl only. I will have vinyl or CD. I don't care if I really want an album and I can't get the 80s original on vinyl. If it's an 8 album, of course, I will buy it on CD, and I will wait. I will not generally buy the vinyl reissue, because that's part of my record collecting thing. I wouldn't be one of those people that just said I collect vinyl only and then not ever hear the album because it's only available on CD. But obviously after a few drinks I saw the price and I thought I could live with it, and I ended up picking it up, and it's a well done reissue. I have to say, it sounds fantastic. It's on clearish green vinyl, okay, not black, but as I say, great price. It for some reason it came with two inner sleeves, just pictures. I don't know if it was supposed to come with two and one's supposed to have lyrics on. Probably not, actually, because the lyrics are on the gatefold. So it's a double album. First album has, or so I thought, has the remastered version of Doomsday of the Deceiver. So this is a 2012 release, a reissue of the 2006 remaster of the 1986 original. But what annoys me, and this really does annoy me, is the first track on side C is ULSW. That's part of the original album, and the last track on side B is Flotsam, which I think appeared on the CD release and was on the original album. So because they've remastered it and they obviously want to make the sound better, they've taken one of the original album tracks off and put it as the first track on side C, and then had a load of live stuff, and it ruins it for me. It's just like, if you're going to do a reissue, try and keep to the original order at least. I don't know, and I say that just annoyed the hell out of me. And maybe one of the reasons why I still have an irrational issue with vinyl reissues. Oh, anyway, I own it now. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with it, because it just, I say, it sounds fantastic, but just the meddling with the track order, that's a no-no for me. But I said it was a story. 2 days later, Monday afternoon, I get an eBay notification on my phone, and it's one of these, don't miss out, auction ends in 1 hour, you're still the highest bidder. I thought, okay, and I looked at it, and it was an OG of Doomsday for the Deceiver, and I ended up winning it for £10, which is like half the price that I've ever seen it gone before, and I was the only bidder on it. I don't remember really putting the bids on this. I must have just been my subconscious must have known that I wouldn't be happy with the reissue, even though I didn't know that it was all in a different order. So I ended up with original anyway. Now I've got original and a reissue, and who knows what I'm going to do. So the only thing that annoys me with this album, there's always something that annoys me, isn't there, is the track listing on here for side A doesn't match the track listing on the record itself, which is a little bit annoying, but I can live with that. Plain black vinyl, metal blade, classic logo. This one has the original sleeve, although a little bit crusty now, but good to have that in there. So yeah, I ended up with a nice OG, which was kind of what I wanted in the first place. It's just a shame I had to buy the reissue first. 4 days later, I get an eBay notification. Don't miss out. Auction about to end. You are the highest bidder. It turns out I had bid on a couple of copies of Doomsday for the Deceiver, Flotsam and Jetson. This one, though, I think I must have bid on them thinking I'm not going to win them, so whatever. Yeah, this one is a little bit. It's got sticker damage here. It's a little bit more dog-eared. The vinyl is in really good condition. Actually, has a little bit of crackle, but only on the start and the dead wax. £4 this cost me in the end. Minimum bid. I mean, who doesn't bid on this at £4? So going from wondering if I'll ever get a copy of Doomsday for the Deceiver by Flotsam and Jetson, I went to 3 copies in a week. The 2 OGs I ended up getting together were cheaper than the reissue. I already know what I'm going to do with one of those copies. I've got a trade that I'm going to work out with one of you guys out there. It's kind of in the works. Yeah, what can I say? The other thing I could say is, has anyone else noticed that the intro for Doomsday for the Deceiver sounds a lot like Motley Crue's "God Bless Children of the Beast"? Like the acoustic intro to it. I keep and that kind of annoys me. I don't know, and I've forgotten that annoyed me until I started listening to this again. Only because I keep expecting I lose my train of thought when I'm listening to it. I'm kind of thinking, what am I? Is this? Why is Motley Crue on? It's not exactly the same, but it's similar enough. Bear with me. Next up, my first Ed guy, and this is Mandrake, 2001 on AFM Records, a German pressing. On Discogs, this is like £25 minimum price, but I got it for £7 from a record show. It's not in perfect condition. I mean, it's in easily VG Plus condition in the vinyl and the record, plain black vinyl. It's 70 minutes. It's a long double album, but it is fantastic from start to finish. If you don't know Ed Guy, and I'm fairly new to them, so this is the first album I've picked up from them. I think this is their 5th album. They are German power metal, really. They kind of sound like Andy Darris era Halloween and Kai Hansen era Iron Savior. In fact, the singer sounds a lot like a cross between Andy Darris himself and Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden. He can do those really sort of soaring, powerful vocals. Absolutely fantastic. This is an album that captivates me from start to finish. I say it has a typical sort of German power metal sound, with the exception maybe of Nail to the Wheel, which is really kind of a lot heavier and more of a straight up heavy metal song. But Tears of a Mandrake, great song. In fact, the side one, Tears of Mandrake, Golden Dawn, and Jerusalem, absolutely top-notch stuff. Easier, more 8.5, 9 out of 10 album for me, and I definitely would like to get some more Ed Guy. I can't believe I found a 2001 pressing so cheap. Moving on. Motorhead and Bastards, originally from 1993. This is the 2013 repress. I bought this from an online retailer called Dodax. They're dodax.co.uk, but I think they're based out of Germany or Switzerland, one of the two, and they do a lot of really cheap stuff, and this cost me £8.77. It's a no frills release. Plain black vinyl. There was no inner or anything. Now I say I'm a big Motorhead fan. I've read Lemmy's White Line Fever book. I've seen the Lemmy documentary 3 or 4 times at least. But I actually own very few Motorhead albums. I think I only have about 4 or 5, maybe 5 including this one. And this isn't the most memorable Motorhead album, if I'm perfectly honest with you. In fact, the one song that's really kind of gets you here, there's called Don't Let Daddy Kiss Me, which was, I think, one of Lemmy's favourite songs that he actually wrote. And he actually wrote it with a female vocalist in mind. I believe he offered it to Lita Ford and Joan Jett, but they kind of turned it down. It's a song, it's a powerful song about child abuse, really. A girl at the sort of fearful of her father and kind of what happens at night, and Don't Let Daddy Kiss Me, and it's a really, really powerful song. And I like the fact that he put it, you know, at the end of side one, because at the end of that one, you kind of feel like you've been, you're a little bit bruised, and you can then get yourself back up and running with side two. I say it's got some good songs on there. Born to Raise Hell, On Your Feet or On Your Knees, Death or Glory. But yes, not the most memorable album out there. And I can't believe I actually missed this one in my Bastards video. It's kind of obvious, really. And it was in my inbox, which is kind of a semi-opaque box, and it was right at the front. It was staring at me, and I still missed it. But yeah, Bastards from Motorhead. This is one I picked up on my High Roller record haul this month that I showed briefly, but I hadn't actually heard it at the time. It is absolutely fantastic. This is High Spirits, Hard to Stop, from this month, actually, rather than this year. It's on white vinyl. I know Bev showed hers in an update this week, and I absolutely love it. It's easily a contender for album of the year for me. It's certainly going to be in my top 3. I don't doubt that. It's just, I mean, they're called High Spirits, and Chris Black, the guy behind this, purposely goes out and he writes songs that put you in high spirits. It's just really kind of uplifting, fun, sing-along, heavy metal. It's just brilliant. If you've not heard any High Spirits, this is also a good place to start. So check that one out. Last one I have today. We've got a long one, haven't we? So King Diamond. I have never been a fan of his vocals, to be honest with you. I'm getting there, but I just, it hasn't fully clicked yet. But I saw a copy of Fatal Portrait on eBay. It was advertised as a 1989 Roadrunner reissue of the 1986 original. So I knew it was a reissue, but it was an 89 reissue, so it's 80s, so that's allowed in my book. But when it came, something didn't smell right. It was very shiny. In fact, it doesn't smell of the 80s at all. The stock is far too new, and the label, the Roadrunner label, is completely wrong. I don't know if you can see it in this light, but Roadrunner labels used to be sort of beige coloured, and this is slightly pink in colour. And the print and the quality of the paper on it is just far too good. And the vinyl for a European release in '89 would never be this thick. It's not 180 gram vinyl by any means, but it got me thinking I'd been done, and it was a bootleg of some kind. Now, I'm still not totally convinced it's not a bootleg, but on Discogs there is a 2019 reissue of this album, which says it's on Roadrunner, but it just seems, I just can't get around my head why there would be a 2019 reissue if, was it Metal Blade have just reissued all these this year as well. So I'm still not 100% convinced it's legit, although one of the guys that follows me on Facebook and comments about my posts, he says that he also has this one as well, and it's totally legit. So I'll take his word for it. I didn't complain to the seller because the price I paid for this was pretty good compared to what it goes for on Discogs, and Discogs wouldn't sell it if it was counterfeit, would they? So so the price I got was comparable with the 89 and the 2019 reissue, and it sounds good, and I'm trying not to get any more anal about reissues, 80s reissues, than I already am. Okay, that's your lot for today. If you stuck with me, thank you very much. As usual, let me know what you think about these releases. What are your favourites? If you disagree with anything I said, let's talk about it in the comments. That's really what I do this for, is the interaction with you guys. I hope you've all had a good month, and I'll be back again soon. Cheers.